Of course, as soon as I learn how to say the title of this movie, I have to go and give it a mixed review.
What the world needs now.
I hope you like that scene in Joker where he's dancing on the stairs, because that's literally half of this movie in Joker Folie. Deux. Okay, so let me give my thoughts on the first Joker movie. I absolutely love it, like a lot of people did. I thought it was a brand new take that was interesting and had great performances and was just really unique and breathing in new life. And I will admit, I was open to this idea in that I didn't really want to see a sequel to Joker. I thought that was a perfectly self-contained movie, but if they're gonna do it, the idea of bringing in Harley Quinn and having Lady Gaga play her, I mean, I don't know how Lady Gaga would be as like traditional Harley Quinn in the jumpsuit. Maybe she'd be good, but she definitely makes sense playing her in this world. And the idea of making it a musical, I thought was really kind of cool. I thought that's a really unique, fun way for these characters to see the world, and what a great contrast with the dark, brutal world that is given to these characters, and then just the bright, happy-go-lucky world that you usually see in old school musicals. I was pretty excited to see this, and when I went in, I have to admit from the very beginning, I got really excited because I won't give away what the opening scene is, but it was really my jam. And it was something where I was going, okay, maybe all the critics were wrong, because I hearing it wasn't getting like the best reviews and stuff like that. So I was really getting hyped up, like, okay, man, this is going to be right up my alley. And it gets really boring really fast. When you hear sequel to Joker starring Joaquin Phoenix as Joker, Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, and it's a musical, the last word that should come to your head is boring.
2 years ago, the name Arthur Fleck hit Gotham like a hurricane.
We should have thought twice about letting Martin Scorsese direct an episode of Gotham. It's funny because I've seen the first Joker film a couple times, but it's been a while. I probably haven't really sat down and watched it all the way through since it came to Blu-ray. And I was wondering to myself, oh man, I wonder if I need a recap to remember exactly what happened in the previous film. No, you don't. This whole movie pretty much reminds you of what happens in the first film. In fact, it's just retelling the story over and over, the events of what happened, throwing in some random songs at the same time. And these songs are very intrusive. These songs do not further the emotion or the story or give any new insight to the characters. Every time it looks like they might be diving into something that's a little interesting, they'll suddenly just start singing, and not very well, which is intentional. I know they're supposed to not be very good singers in this. They're supposed to sing like just kind of everyday people. For maybe one song, I think that can work. I think you can just sing a song that already exists, maybe about just being happy and in a good mood, and you can have them not sing it well, and I think that would be very, very effective. But when you have a whole movie where half of it is them singing, not singing well, not really dancing well, not even really having that big a production half the time, it gets really old really fast. Now, on that note, I will admit, when I watch a musical, the musicals I get into are the ones that really do expand the story. The songs really give us something about the characters we haven't known about, the characters singing about their emotions. I'm not really one that gets into the ones like Singing in the Rain or La La Land, where they just kind of sing about how happy they are, and that's kind of it. But I admire them not only on a technical level, but what great escapism they are, and I do get there's an audience for that, and I do like them. I do like those movies. I just don't love them. I'm not a super fan. So keep that in mind, because as I was leaving this screening, I did hear people say that they did like some song numbers. So I might be someone that's very out of that mindset. So there might be people who still like the song numbers fine in this, but they really didn't pull me in at all. I brought up Chicago earlier, and I thought that did such a good job showing what a circus the whole judicial system can be, using both the loopholes in trials and then also the media to your advantage, and literally throwing a three-ring circus as the song goes in there, and just immediately connect the visuals with what is going on and the contrast and the similarities. And nothing like that really feels like is happening here. They will just suddenly stop, sing a song about being happy. Every single song is about being happy, and it got to a point where every time I would hear them start to sing, I would just think to myself, shut up! I don't like this. This isn't fun. What am I learning? What am I discovering? Oh yeah, that scene doesn't happen. I also found it fascinating that, for me anyway, Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga didn't have much chemistry. To some extent, you can argue that's kind of the point. Joker and Harley are not supposed to be the healthiest couple, but at the same time, you're supposed to see why they're drawn to each other. And I didn't get that too much here. I got it in the sense that they were both seen as crazy, but outside of that, that's about it. And everything else is explained through dialogue, just them saying why they're attracted to the other, but you don't really see it too much in their interactions, at least in a way that doesn't feel forced. However, there is one moment in this movie where they reveal a little bit of a surprise about one of the characters, and that's where I started to wake up a little bit, because where in the first film it shows how society just betrays the mentally ill, this film was starting to really dive into the idea about how society exploits the mentally ill. And I feel like when they were examining that through the trial and through their relationship and what they're both getting out of each other, that was becoming very, very interesting. And I was really suddenly like, okay, maybe this is gonna be like Beetlejuice, where the first half is not awful, but, you know, kind of drags, you're not sure if it's working, and the second half really picks up. But just when you think it's really going somewhere, it just kind of drops a lot of the ideas, or at the very least doesn't take them to a place that's nearly as interesting as you're imagining it's gonna go.
Come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day.
Yeah, Judgment Day. Give that evil smile. Man, is everybody gonna hurt? You are so gonna be let down by the end of this. Neither the film nor the songs feel justified in it. There's nothing in this film where I said, okay, I'm glad I saw this. I'm glad that I checked it out, because I don't think I could watch the first film the same way again. I really have to see this one to complete everything. No, you really don't. With that said, I do think this film is probably gonna get enough of an audience. My guess would be that a lot of people would tune in to the first weekend, probably say, yeah, it's alright, I guess it's about what I thought I was gonna get, and then never watch it again. I could be wrong, maybe it'll be a huge hit and people will keep going back to it, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting.
For once in my life, I didn't feel so alone anymore.
Oh, also, is Joaquin Phoenix turning into a gargoyle? What is up with his body? There are good things in it. The performances are very, very well done. Even from some actors I wouldn't necessarily have thought, wow, that's gonna be a scene stealer. Lee Gill from the first film comes back, and in a movie with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga, for him to steal the show, even though it's a very brief moment, that is very impressive. You do get a feel for these characters very quickly, even if they're not on screen for very long. Again, except for the ones that they're trying to keep a little mysterious, and again, some of them don't lead to anything that interesting, but at the very least, keeping that mystery alive is kind of neat. The film is shot well, and that really is a compliment, because I'm not even kidding, like 95% of the movie is either in jail or in a courtroom, and there's only so many ways you can make those two locations look interesting, but they do play around with it with some really good lighting and good cinematography, so that's all handled very well. And ideas are explored. I usually say in a lot of reviews, well, they have like a seed of an idea, but they never give it water, and that's not the case here. They do really plant some interesting seeds of ideas, and they do give it a fair amount of water. They're just not gardening them very well. They're kind of growing at different lengths and going in different directions, and then it just kind of turns out into a mess. But man, if you look at the package of the seeds and what it was supposed to look like, you could see there's really gonna be something great there, and people worked really, really hard to try and get what was on the package, but it just doesn't turn out.
You can do anything you want.
Yeah, she's right. There's like 6 times in this trial the judge should have said, you can't do that. If this film took a few more chances, really justified its existence, and either cut out the songs or wrote their own songs, like actually wrote musical numbers that are actually advancing what the characters are going through, at the very least give some variety to the songs outside of just them always singing about how happy they are. I feel like maybe we could have something that could be a pre-potent sequel, but as is, I don't really hate it. I don't think it's an awful movie. I just thought it really dragged on. I thought it was pretty dull. I do think there's some good things in it, but it just didn't balance out to me. So I'm giving it 2.5 out of 4 Dead Rupert Pumpkins. I do think there's an audience for this film, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as passionate as the first one. With that said, what do you all think? Do you think I am completely wrong about this movie? Do you think that it captured the same intrigue and fascination as the first film and it evolved it to this new place? Or do you think it was just awful? It just took everything that the original film was trying to do and completely destroyed it? Or are you somewhere in between where you said, you know what, I just kind of wanted to see Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga dance around and look kind of cool while doing it, and I got that, so I thought it was okay. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you next time. Take care.